Imagine that we had a scale that looked like this. On each side are 10 barrels. We're going to play a game with those barrels. On your turn, you will stand underneath the right side. You will then choose either side of the scales, and from that side, you may remove any number of barrels. However, you must remove something. Choosing 0 barrels is not an option. For example, on the first turn, you might remove these 2. After you've chosen what to remove, we will wait a moment for the scales to adjust, and in this case it might look like that. And if we have verified that you have not been crushed, then your turn will end. It will become my turn, and like you, I will have to choose a side of the scales, pick any number of barrels from that side, remove them, wait a moment for the scales to adjust, and if I am not crushed, my turn ends and it becomes your turn. We will continue this process until all the barrels are removed or someone has been crushed. Oh, and I forgot this part. Those barrels are full of bear repellent. And it just so happens that there's a bear sitting next to the scales watching us play this game. And so if you are the person to remove the final barrel, that's not good news for you. The bear, no longer deterred by any repellent, will come and eat you. Here's the puzzle. You go first. Design a strategy that guarantees you will not be crushed or eaten by the bear. And if you want a slightly more difficult challenge, design a winning strategy for any version of this game, as long as the starting position has the scales balanced. And while you think about that, check out some of these cool books that I've written. Your hint for today comes out of Chapter 2 of Game Theory 101, the complete textbook. Specifically, you should consider using backward induction. If it's difficult to figure out what to do when there are 10 barrels on each side, think about a simpler game where there's only 1 barrel on each side, or 2 barrels on each side. After you've worked out some of those smaller cases, you may get additional leverage on what to do when there are 10 barrels on each side. Are you ready for the solution? If not, here's one more hint. The only first move that you can make to win this game is to remove exactly 1 barrel from the right side, leaving the scales to look like this at the end of your turn. If it's not clear why that will ultimately win you the game, let's work through that backward induction, thinking about what the end game might look like and using that information to inform us of what you should do earlier on. Specifically, let's start off with what happens when there is 1 barrel on each side. From here, you have a clear path to victory. If you remove the right barrel, there is only 1 barrel left on the left side. When the scale rebalances, you will not be crushed, and on my turn, I am obligated to remove that final barrel, which means the bear comes and gets me. Not good for me, but great for you. Recognizing that gives us leverage over a slightly more complicated situation. Perhaps if there were 2 barrels on each side. Here, there is exactly one way for you to win. You remove 1 barrel from the right side, leaving 2 on the left and 1 on the right. Afterward, the scales will readjust like this. And when it becomes my turn, there is nothing I can do to win from here. If I remove the barrel on the right, then on your turn, you can remove 1 of the barrels on the left, forcing me to take the final barrel on the left on my turn. If I remove 1 barrel from the left side, we just saw that if you take your turn with 1 barrel on each side, that you will win. And finally, if I take both barrels from the left side, I will get crushed. There's nothing I can do from this position to win. Do you see the pattern that's forming? If on the start of my turn, there is exactly one more barrel on the left side than there is on the right side, no matter how I play this, my turn will either end with me getting crushed or putting you in a position to replicate the balance so that at the end of your turn, there is exactly one more barrel on the left side than there is on the right side. For example, if I were to take a bunch of objects from the left side, then when the scales readjust, I get crushed and the game ends. If, in contrast, I were to take exactly one object from the left side to restore balance to the scales, then on your turn, you can very easily get us back to the situation that we were just a moment ago. All you have to do is take one barrel from the right side. And once again, there is exactly one more barrel on the left than there is on the right. The final possibility is that I take a bunch of objects from the right side instead. If I do that, it's easy for you to restore the slight imbalance. All you need to do is take a bunch of objects from the left side, but being sure to leave exactly one more over there than there is on the right. The key thing is that no matter how I play the game, your turn always ends with exactly one more barrel on the left than there is on the right. And if you think about it, that's all you need to ensure that you win the game. Because if your turn is always ending with one more barrel on the left than on the right, then eventually we will get down to a situation where it is my turn and there is only one object left. That's the barrel on the left side of the scales. I will be obligated to take that final barrel. And when I do, fortunately the scales will not crush me, but unfortunately there is no more bear repellent, so I will meet a grisly fate. You'll notice that none of the argument had anything to do with there being exactly 10 barrels on each side at the start. Consequently, as long as the scales are balanced to begin with, your winning strategy is to take one from the right side, and then on every subsequent turn, make sure that there is exactly one more barrel on the left than there is on the right. That guarantees that you won't get crushed, and it also means that ultimately I will be eaten by the bear. Did you figure this one out? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.